Okay, I might be late with this one, but it's still pretty much in the lips of every South African. And the number one question everybody is asking is, why is it everybody is getting arrested around Morgan Maumela, but not Morgan Maumela? Where is Morgan Maumela? So those are multiple questions that the South Africans are asking. And I'm asking the same thing, but without undermining or misconstruing the law of evidence. I understand why SIU is collecting evidence, because to put together a successful prosecution, you need to collect evidence, facts, and present them in the most legal of ways that the person that is accused of, let's say, unaliving a person, they left all sorts of facts behind: fingerprints, gunpowder residue. Probably they even bit the victim, and they can collect DNA samples, or they forgot their glove behind, things of that nature. So I understand that all of these things need to be meticulously collected to detect a successful prosecution. And I don't think that SIU has the power to arrest. I stand corrected. But I do understand that they work with National Prosecuting Authority, which I think most of these investigations are what they call it again? The word that we keep hearing in the sense of Mayor, prosecutorial investigations. So we're talking about Morgan Maumela and his Bentley. Yeah. So I'm not quite interested in this particular case just yet. I mean, I'm following it, but not just yet. Until Morgan Maumela is put in handcuffs, and then because he might be afraid to link big dogs. We'll see what he will say from there. That's what I'm interested in. Be above him, who else benefited from the 2 billion rand? And people that are above him, who ordered the hit on Babita Diokoran? That is what I'm interested in. So far, Kat Matlala, to me, small fish. He is a small boy there, in my opinion. Above him, we have Morgan Maumela. Who's above Morgan Maumela? That's where I'm interested in. I'm interested in that. And now let's talk about this Bentley. And I did not want a long article. Remember, I said, I'm not interested in this matter just yet. I want the ones up there. Those are the people I'm interested in. So I made sure that I got the shortest article that just, glazes over this matter. So Times Live was the one that I chose. So the publication, or the article, was published on the 5th of June 2026 at almost 20 past 2 p.m. yesterday. And I don't see, I see the reporter is Isaac Mahlangu, senior reporter Isaac Mahlangu. And of course, the headlines was SIU swoops on another luxury car tied to the suspected Tembisa Hospital fraudster. And the subheading is dealership accused of hiding 3 million rand Bentley linked to Hangwani Maumela, bought with alleged stolen hospital funds. You see, if you listen to this story about this 3 million rand Bentley, which was bought about 4 times allegedly from the same dealership, Omar something in Mpumalanga, allegedly. And you cannot help but say, but that sounds to me like money laundering. They are cleaning the money with this Bentley, so that money, passes by and comes on the other side as clean. I want to ask this question once again. When you make decisions in your life and you are sitting on a toilet pan, what what is it that cross? Why are you using that sort of intelligence to commit crimes instead of saying, hang on a minute, I think I can put two and two together. Let me invent something. The clean way, the hard way, and the long way. Because at the end of the day, you are the one who is going to look back and say, I did that proudly. And you are still able to look at yourself in the mirror every morning, night before you go to bed. And you're able to pat yourself on the shoulder and say, I'm a goat. What goes across your mind to say, okay, there's a Bentley out there and I have this money, and in order to clean this money, do you see that it's premeditation? You are thinking the chain process to the other side. And then you still have the audacity to want to defend yourself. You are caught. You are caught. There are consequences for every decision we make, especially negative decisions. Anyways, let's start with the article. My apologies. I get curious. On my true crime channel, I cover a lot of serial killers. And I always ask myself, what goes in your head that, I'm going to wake up and I'll start unaliving people for no good reason. The one that made me so upset was of a young man. I think it was the last case I did. Of a young man that was unaliving women that looked like his mother. If you wore a red lipstick and you wore like red, what you call this, nail polish, and you smoked, or at least he suspected you also smoked, you were gone. About 18 or 22 women he unalived, including a 16-year-old girl. But with the 16-year-old girl, he saw a potential that she could end up like his mother. So to preserve her from becoming like his mother, he unalives her. Oh, I know I've digressed a lot. I'm just trying to say to you, I try to understand what goes on in here. We all live with traumas, guys. But the last thing I would ever do in my trauma is to want to hurt another human being. And we all grew up poor. And the excuse of, I did this because I'm poor. Anyways, the article goes, the Special Investigating Unit, SIU, will be attaching a Bentley Continental GT vehicle worth around 3 million rand at an Emalahleni car dealership on Friday afternoon. This is part of the ongoing investigation into the 2 billion rand looting of the Tembisa hospital. The SIU obtained an order in the special tribunal to preserve the vehicle, which is linked to alleged Tembisa hospital kingpin, Hangwani Maumela. I think that was a perfect description of Maumela. Kingpin. 11 luxury vehicles, including numerous Lamborghinis and Aston Martins, worth more than 75 million rand, have already been attached as part of the SIU probe. Times Live has learned that a tactical team and Hawks officers will be executing a court order at Omar's den. To attach the Bentley. The vehicle was allegedly hidden by the dealership as it was procured with proceeds from the looting of Tembisa Hospital. On Tuesday, the special tribunal issued an order in an urgent ex parte application whereby the order was granted for the preservation of the vehicle. Attempts to take the car on Tuesday failed after security guards removed SIU officers off the premises following an alleged standoff. The audacity. That's not like contempt of court order or something like that. Anyways, for me, where I'm having a bit of trouble, because this happens to us, y'all, the ordinary folks, banks. Let's start with these kidnappings. They take you and they get hold of your phone. They make sure they have the password to your cloud and everything. And then they access your app, your banking app, and then they wipe your bank account clean. And you would think that banks have some kind of technology and intelligence that, hang on a minute, Clancy's withdrawal patterns are like this. And secondly, Clancy's never once came and said he intends to withdraw all his money to another bank or whatever the withdrawal methods that they use so that they take your money on the other side. There's nothing that ding, 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 red flag, ring a bell, let's freeze this and call. Don't call the owner though. Don't call because they'll have them things against their head to say, yes, it's you who withdrew all of that. Maybe a 72 hour, but they're still going to keep you for 72 hours. But there needs to be some kind of innovation. Now, when you come to this 3 million rand Bentley, the movement of cash, is it not detected somewhere, somehow, by the banks? I feel like the banks, maybe they are detecting and maybe they are doing things in the background. I don't know. But me as an ordinary person who don't know how banks work, especially when it comes to crime intelligence, like financial crime intelligence, I have to ask questions. I have to ask questions. You know, growing up, I've always known that if you bought a car cash, you would have the police at your door. Do you remember those days? Maybe it never happened. I don't know. But that's how I knew that if you bought a car cash, you would have the police knocking on your door to question you about where did you get this money that made you afford to buy a vehicle cash from a car dealership. That's how I grew up. But hey, things change. This is South Africa. But money laundering, in my opinion, is definitely involved in this Bentley Continental. And here's my final question to us Black people. Tell me, is it necessary when you get money, I'm talking large sums of money, whether you won the lottery, like 100 million rand, is it necessary for you to go and, I get it, it's your money. You worked hard for it. To go and get 3 million rand vehicle? 3. I remember a time, one of my, I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 houses away from us. He always wanted to be a tenderpreneur. He quit school because he thought it was useless. Young people are driving Range Rovers, etc. and so on. Subsequently, he did get a subcontract during the building of a certain stadium for the FIFA World Cup. And you know what he did? He took that money and went and bought a Range Rover. He went and bought a Range Rover. I think it was Sports 2010 or something. It was still brand new at the time. And all that money, he needed to take his profit and then hire people under that subcontract to deliver. Tell me why his department, where he was supposed to do something, no show. And he was surprised when the police knocked on his door, putting handcuffs on him. The embarrassment. What do you think happened to the Range Rover? It was repossessed so that the proceeds go back to the tender and so that they can get another one. Why? Another thing, you see a full-grown man. A full-grown man, which is it's cringeworthy when you watch that video where he opens his Louis Vuitton bag and takes out a brick of money, puts it on his a full-grown man. And then you look at him and you're thinking, is he on the spectrum of some sort? Not that there's anything wrong, but who let the dogs out type of situation when you look at him? You know? Why do we do that? For who do you do that? What do you gain by doing that? I need to understand. And I'm telling you, they're the same people who will talk about white monopoly capital, why we shouldn't support this and why we shouldn't support that. And the same people take first-class tickets to Dubai, if not Milan or Rome, to buy this nonsense. It's staggering. I will never understand it. Instead of taking that money and generate it into generational wealth, and I get it. You never worked for it. You never worked for it. You don't know how it's like to wake up in the morning, to go and sweat and literally cry, because the people that are going to benefit out of this is not you. It's going to be your children. And I think we need to examine that part about us. I saw a video of a Nigerian who had a slew of Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and Porsches. So sometimes he likes to show them off to his community. Do you know that Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and those Italian expensive cars, they need to have their own special roads? Or at least a road that can accommodate that type of vehicle. But he was driving his Lamborghinis and Ferraris and all of that in not even gravel, but dusty roads. You couldn't tell whether the Ferrari or the Lamborghini was yellow or red, or it was made of a dusty paint. Why? Because the money that he actually got, and he got arrested, it's love scams. From love scams. Now, his village people, instead of, you know how South Africans do it when you do spin, they go, I hate that thing. But none of them were doing that. The village people, they were just looking at him like, all right, how does that benefit me? Anyways, why Morgan Maumela is not in handcuffs this weekend? Where is he? Just asking. On behalf of South Africans that are asking that question. Anyways, let me leave the video here. Please let me know, what are your thoughts? I now have the picture of that short man with the brick. Anyways, goodbye, guys, because this video is not gonna end. Goodbye.